Okay, hello everybody. My name is Jameson Young. I'm sitting here talking to Jameson Young. He's back at home, and I'm sitting here at work, and this is our YouTube channel, Self-Conflicted. We're doing this once again because we're still practicing certain things involving editing. I just pulled some recent stories out of the news. Most of them you probably heard of. We'll start off with the whole Syrian thing. You know, Trump, he's getting a lot of heat for from both sides, the Democrats, Republicans. What's your take on it? I mean, I know we made another video about this. My take's always been the same. We ought to be out of the Middle East. I don't see. It's very extremely two-faced. It's like on both sides. I mean, I remember when Barack Obama was pulling out of Iraq, all the Republicans made him sound bad, and all the liberals made him sound like a saint. Now it's the exact opposite. All the liberals are talking about how bad Trump is for leaving Syria, but I mean, I think we ought to just get out of there anyway. What about though the Kurds? I think is like the main thing because like they're our allies, and people are saying that they're just gonna get, they're just gonna get slaughtered or killed without our presence there. Do you think that they have an argument that we should be more faithful to our allies or something? There are no real true allies in the Middle East. I mean, the Kurds, I mean, maybe they're our allies, but what good? I mean, seriously, what good do we get from them? I mean, this is kind of a one-sided relationship. How much do they help us, really? So, just like how we were funding Iraq and Afghanistan in the 80s, and then we were fighting them in the 2000s, that's probably how it will be with the Kurds. We'll be, we're their supposed allies, and then, 10, 20 years later, we might be their enemies. So there really are no true allies in that part of the region. We ought to just leave it all and abandon it. Who cares if it goes bad? Because I think I said this in the last video too about Syria. Who cares if it goes bad? Because if it's not the Taliban, it's ISIS, or if it's not ISIS, it's Saddam. It's always somebody in that region of the world. Also, while we're at it, what did you read Trump's letter to the president of Turkey?
Yeah.
You think that was? Think he should be more professional or something? I don't really care if he's more professional or not. That letter's pretty funny and it's pretty straightforward. I mean, might as well just say the truth. Okay, then there's the Chinese NBA ordeal. Some top dog in the NBA made a comment expressing support for the Hong Kong protesters, and that made China come down on the NBA. And then it kind of seemed like the whole NBA was very, very willing to just kind of bow to China and shut their mouths, when a lot of these same players are very, very critical and vocal of little things that will happen in the United States. I know LeBron James said something. I know James Harden apologized to China. Do you think? Do you have any take on this? I mean, ultimately, I kind of half agree with that one news lady who told LeBron James he should just shut up and dribble. I mean, that is kind of what athletes should do. I mean, but at the same time, it's not their fault. It's the people who put so much faith in their words. I mean, the guy's job is to throw a rubber ball through a circle. So I don't expect him to know much about China or any other, or heck, his own country for that matter. Yeah, don't put too much faith into what an athlete says, and if they want to say something. But yeah, it is kind of a punkish move because they're always very critical of stuff that happens like in the United States, but if something happens in communist China, where I think they got like a million Muslims locked up, well, then they'll apologize and they'll say, well, you gotta have repercussions for your freedom of speech and all this stuff. So whatever, it doesn't really matter to me much. Okay, there's also been some Obama. The big news is he made a huge endorsement, but it wasn't Joe Biden. It was Obama gave his endorsement to Justin Trudeau in Canada. So. And not Joe Biden. So what do you think Joe Biden's thinking about that, or what do you think about that? I hope Joe Biden feels stupid about it, because heck, he should feel stupid about his whole gaffe machine campaign. Then there's Nancy Pelosi. Trump called her a third-rate politician.
She is.
Is that really let's call it? Is that really like professional? Should a president be saying that to the Speaker of the House? It is. It is appropriate, and it's true. I mean, she is a third-rate politician. That's all. That's all I have to say about it. And then James Mattis, he said something mocking of the Donald. He said, "I earned my spurs on the battlefield," and of course that's kind of a jab at the Donald, because one of the ways Donald Trump got out of the draft in Vietnam is he had bone spurs. So is that kind of out of character for General Mattis? What do you think about his comments? I know from like military guys, I'd take a lot of heat for saying this, but James Mattis earned his spurs on the battlefield as like a full burn colonel in Desert Storm, and then he led troops as a 2-star general in the invasion of Iraq. He graduated high school in 1968, but yet he spent the next 4 years sitting in a college classroom having a good time. I don't see how tough or badass of a general he is when come time for a real war and his generation's war, he was sitting in a college classroom, and then he led people in 2 simple wars from, 50 miles behind the fighting in a nice air conditioning office. So I don't really see how he's so brave, or he's the end all be all of generals. Well, yeah, but he was in the, I think he joined the Marine Corps Reserves around, give or take, 1969 or something. Well, as far as the Marine Corps Reserves go, though, like unlike in the 2000s, where if you join the reserves, you get called up 3, 4, 5 times. But if you notice, when those units were getting activated, that was like the first time they were getting activated since World War II, because in World War II, the war was so big, we needed the draft plus all the reserve units. Those units never got activated in Korea, Vietnam, because we could fill our numbers with the draft and courtroom enlistments and volunteers. So it was a commonly known thing to get out of the draft by joining the reserves, because you wouldn't get drafted because you were already technically in the military, and your unit wouldn't get sent to Vietnam because they weren't activating units. So just because somebody was in the reserves in the late 60s, early 70s, that doesn't mean that they were like as brave or what, like somebody in the reserves in the last 10, 15 years, where reserve units get called up all the time. Then there's AOC. AOC's her Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She put out a big endorsement for Bernie Sanders. Think that will help the Bernie? I mean, the only thing the only thing I think about Bernie Sanders, I'm pretty sure it's over for him. I mean, he's an 80-year-old socialist having heart attacks, so I don't think it matters if AOC or whoever gives her an endorsement. Then Jimmy Carter and his wife, they broke the record for longest president married couple. They broke H.W. and Barbara Bush's record. They've been married for 73 years. What do you think about that? That's probably going to beat anything we ever pull off.
Probably.
My only comment ultimately is I could care less, but congratulations, Jimmy Carter, I guess. There's also been more college admission scandals. If you remember 6 months to a year ago, all those rich celebrity, like one of them was the Full House girl. They paid college admission people to get their kids into schools that maybe their kids didn't deserve to be in. Do you think that they're thinking there might be more of them? Do you think what do you think about more charges being brought up? I'm amazed. I'm amazed. Does anybody not think that this goes on? Everybody knows that rich people, pay their way into nice colleges or nice jobs. I mean, I don't understand what the big deal was it then. I don't understand the big deal about it now. So I don't care. Yeah, but should it be allowed though? I mean, if they're gonna crack down on it, crack down on all of it. I mean, the thing is, they did the math. In order to have 4 children as brilliantly smart to all make it into Harvard on your own merit, it's the statistical equivalent of getting struck by lightning 20 some times. But yet, all 4 of Al Gore's kids went to Harvard, according to them, on their own merit. And of course, both Obama girls are going to Harvard. So it's if you're going to crack down on it 100%. Or Also, the whole Bush family went to Yale for 5 generations. I'm not really for just going after some small fish and then say, oh, see, we handled the problem. We took the problem serious. Either care about the big fish, the big problems, or who cares? Okay, well, anyway, like I said, thanks for putting up with our editing practice. My name's Jameson Young. These were just some fast fact stories we came up with, some current in the news currently stories, and we just thought maybe we'd share our ideas on them. Anyway, thanks a lot for tuning in. My name's Jameson Young. This is my YouTube channel, Self Conflicted. Thank you.